गणेश देवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। रघुवन का भोग लगे संत करे सेवा, रघुवन का भोग लगे संत करे सेवा, संत करे सेवा, संत करे सेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। एक दंत दयावंत चार भुजाधारी, एक दंत दयावंत चार भुजाधारी, माथे पे सिंदूर सोहे मोस की सवारी, माथे पे सिंदूर सोहे मोस की सवारी। दुखियों के दुख हरत परमानंद देवा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। अंधन को आँख देते कोढ़ियन को काया, अंधन को आँख देते कोढ़ियन को काया। बांझन को पुत्र देते निर्धन को माया, बांझन को पुत्र देते निर्धन को माया। भव से पार करो नाथ भजन करो तेरा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। जो तेरा ध्यान करे ज्ञान मिले उसको, जो तेरा ध्यान करे ज्ञान मिले उसको। छोड़ तुझे और भला जाऊं मैं किसको, छोड़ तुझे और भला जाऊं मैं किसको। हे देवा कृपा करो कष्ट हरो मेरा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
जय sambale Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Shankara Shiva Sada Shiva। Jaya sambale Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Shankara Shiva Sada Shiva। ज्योति उन्मोदी में गंगाधरा, माणिक मालय नागेंद्रा। ज्योति उन्मोदी में गंगाधरा, माणिक मालय नागेंद्रा। जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय, हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा। कैलासवासा करुणाकरा, आनंदं वेलिन्द्र महादेवा। कैलासवासा करुणाकरा, आनंदं वेलिन्द्र महादेवा। जय शाम्बले ओम नमः शिवाय, शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा गौरी शंकर सांब शिवा प्रभु येतुने नीये परमेश्वरा गौरी शंकर सांब शिवा प्रभु येतुने नीये परमेश्वरा जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा लिंग ज्योति राम कृष्ण ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा लिंग ज्योति राम कृष्ण जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा गौरी मुनि गंगाधरा मालिक मालय नागेंद्रा कैलाश वासा करुणाकरा आनंद वेरले महादेवा जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा गौरी शंकर सांब शिवा प्रभु येतुने नीये परमेश्वरा ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा लिंग ज्योति राम कृष्ण जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा जय सांबले ओम नमः शिवाय हर शंकरा शिव सदा शिवा ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
अंतरती भक्ति पुकारो आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे अंतरती भक्ति पुकारो आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे दुनिया लगे छ मने अंधारो कोमो दुनिया लगे छ मने अंधारो कोमो ओवामती कौन बचावे आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे ओवामती कौन बचावे आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे अंतरती भक्ति पुकारो आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे अंतरती भक्ति पुकारो आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे माता पिता ने कुटुंब कबीलो माता पिता ने कुटुंब कबीलो अंत समय कौन बचावे आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे अंत समय कौन बचावे आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे अंतरती भक्ति पुकारो आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे अंतरती भक्ति पुकारो आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे कर्मा वचन्ति प्रभु मांगो हो एकलो कर्मा वचन्ति प्रभु मांगो हो एकलो भक्ति भाव उदारे आओ प्रभु सांझ सवारे ભક્તિથી ભાવ ઉગારે, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. અંતરથી ભક્તિ પુકારો, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. અંતરથી ભક્તિ પુકારો, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. કર્મા વચનથી પ્રભુ માંગો હું એકલું, કર્મા વચનથી પ્રભુ માંગો હું એકલું. ભક્તિથી ભાવ ઉગારે, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. ભક્તિથી ભાવ ઉગારે, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. અંતરથી ભક્તિ પુકારો, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. અંતરથી ભક્તિ પુકારો, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે, આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે. આવો પ્રભુ સાંજ સવારે.
ઓમ શ્રી રામ કૃષ્ણ ભગવાન કી જય. પવન સુત હનુમાન કી જય. શ્રી અંબે અંબે માત કી જય. શ્રી કૃષ્ણ કનૈયા લાલ કી જય.
Om Aim Sarvadeva Devi Swarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya to revered Prarajika Ishtaprana Mataji, dear sisters, brothers and loving children. My topic for today is Swami Vivekananda, Service to Man is Worship of God. In a tribute to Swami Vivekananda, Ella Wheeler, an American intellectual, wrote in May 1985, I was listening to Vivekananda this morning for an hour. How honored by fate you must feel to have been allowed to be of service to this great soul. I believe him to be the reincarnation of some great spirit, perhaps Buddha, perhaps Christ. He is so simple, so sincere, so pure and so unselfish. To have listened to him all winter is the greatest privilege life has offered me. His discourse this morning was most uplifting, his mere presence at that. To do good for good's sake, with no expectation or reward, and never to speak of what we have done, but to keep on working for the love of doing God's work, is Vivekananda's grand philosophy of life. Unquote. Sri Ramakrishna, our Holy Mother, and Swamiji stressed the importance of balancing spiritual practices like japa, meditation, pilgrimage, worship, and service to living beings. All work in the Ramakrishna Mutt and mission around the world is done according to the philosophy of work based on the principles that all work is sacred, work is done as worship, service to man is service to God, focus on service to the poor and downtrodden, and work is a spiritual discipline. The service activities of the Mutt and mission inspired by the motto given by Swamiji, Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha, for one's own salvation and for the welfare of the world, has been steadily expanding for the good of many, for the happiness of many. Swami Vivekananda's monastic disciples dedicated their lives to the welfare of mankind. Taking the vow of service and renunciation as taught by Swamiji, these noble souls made Swamiji's great ideal of service to man is worship of God their very life breath, and laid down their lives for its practice and success. One such a spiritual gem was Swami Kalyanananda, who had set up the Ramakrishna Mission Seva Ashram at Kankal near Hardwar. Service to humanity was the most important philosophy in his life, and he practiced it for the benefit of the local ailing population, the pilgrims and the monks. He led a selfless life looking upon the poor as manifestations of God. He was one of the pioneers to set up a hospital in a remote location for the poor, the needy, and the wandering monks who did not have access to health care. After going on pilgrimage and practicing austerities, he, together with another of Swamiji's disciples, served the poor and the needy in Banaras, Allahabad and Jaipur. It was on Swamiji's request that he went to Hardwar, Rishikesh, and began the work at the Kangal Ashram. He started off by renting just 2 rooms. They received much support from the head of the Kailash monastery, and so, with Swami Nishchayananda, Swamiji's other devout disciple, the 2 Swamis followed strict, austere practices. Swami Kalyanananda's daily routine consisted of personally visiting every patient in the hospital, getting to know each of their condition, sitting by their side and talking to them, visiting the kitchen, the wards, garden, cowshed, library and the temple shrine. They went to the extent, in the initial phases, of picking up patients from the roadside, bringing them to the hospital, and cleaning both the hospital and the patients. His role was multiple, serving as doctor, nurse, and accountant. As the sponsorships came in, he opened a small dispensary for the poor and the local pilgrims' treatment. For 3 decades, both the brother monks tirelessly served the pilgrims and local people during the Kumbh Mela by providing medical care and assistance. Swami Kalyanananda started a library providing education for the laborers and their children. He started a school for those who were looked down upon, living through Swamiji's message of helping those, regardless of their caste, color, and creed. He also provided drinking water to people who lived in the nearby villages and personally gave them monetary help. He would often wake up at the night, accompanied by his faithful dog, went to pay a visit to the inpatient ward to check if anybody required any help. He planted 150 mango trees on the premises of the hospital and used that produce to feed the poor and the monks. He himself sewed the pillow covers and bed sheets of the patients in order to ensure an excellent quality of linen to them. He kept all the affairs of the hospital under minute observation, paying attention to every detail in a precise manner. He spent 36 years tirelessly serving the afflicted and the poor. Besides the many sannyasins and brahmacharyans of the order, a large number of devotees and admirers have dedicated themselves to service, inspired by the ideology of service to man is worship of God. Their stories of devoted service are very inspiring. Sri Swapan Adhikari, a 62-year-old rickshaw driver, found joy in supplying study materials to nearly 200 poor school children every year from the savings of his hard labor. During an epidemic in 2005, he got a cassette made about the dengue disease by 2 doctors. He hired a loudspeaker set and played the cassette as he drove his rickshaw just to increase awareness and its preventative measures. He also organized medical camps with over half a dozen physicians and specialists and arranged free medicines for hundreds of students and villages. Swami Vivekananda once told his brother disciple, Swami Turyananda, "I am still unable to understand anything of your so-called religion, but my heart has expanded very much, and I have learned to feel, to be good and do good. That is the whole of religion." Swapan Adhikari exemplified this idea through his selfless service. And so did many others like professors and teachers, for example, who worked in the same spirit and actually taught their classes as a pujari would worship in a temple. Their personal sacrifice, remarkable teaching, and their remarkable teaching skills as well, and their love for their students made the students peaceful and attentive in their classes. Swami Brahmeshananda wrote in his book entitled Health, Medicine and Religion on how the Ramakrishna monks serve patients. In line with Sri Ramakrishna's teaching and Swamiji's continuous drive towards Jiva Jnane Shiva Jive, service to man is service to God, the Ramakrishna Seva Ashramas, home of service as Swamiji initially named it, provides relief and comfort to millions of people since its inception. Swamiji taught and showed how this work must be done in the spirit of worship. He said, "You have read, look upon your mother as God, look upon your father as God. But I also say, look upon the poor, the illiterate, the ignorant, the afflicted. Let these also be your God." And thus monks and devotees put this into actual practice at the mission. At Varanasi, the monks serve the patients as gods. There is no temple. The hospital itself is the temple. The hospital kitchen, where patients' food is cooked, is called nayanaravindam, that is, the kitchen of the Lord. At around 10 o'clock in the morning, the food is served to the Rogi Narayan, the patient gods, and the same meals the monks partake of at 12 noon. That means the food having been offered to Narayan has now become a sacrament, prasad, which the monks and worshippers partake of with reverence. Just as in the temple we worship Lord Shiva as Shiva Lingam or Mother Lakshmi with lighted lamps, food offerings, incense, flowers, similar worship is done of the sick. Of course, we don't offer these items literally. Instead of water to bathe the deity, we sponge the patient, Narayan, with medical lotion. Instead of flowers, we offer eye drops or tablets. Instead of sandal paste, we dress the wounds and apply ointment. And instead of the mantras being chanted in Sanskrit, we offer words of consolation and encouragement to our patient God. Thus, our act of examining and treating a patient gets transformed into a worship. And indeed, how closely does an elaborate surgical operation resemble a special puja like Durga or Ganesh puja during the special days? The operation theatre can be compared to the puja mandapam, where the surgeon is the chief priest, the anesthetist, the chief attendant, and the many assistants are like so many assistants during a worship. To this day, the monks at the Ramakrishna Mission's medical institutions serve patients in this manner. For them, the medical service is neither a profession nor even a service, but a spiritual practice, a sadhana comparable to meditation, which would lead them to God or moksha, liberation. We pray to Swami Vivekananda to give us strength and courage to serve all in the practice and spirit of his invaluable teachings. Hari Om Tat Sat.
स्वामी जी की जीवन गाथा आओ सब मिल गाए हम। ये है भारत भाग्य विधाता, इनको गले लगाए हम, इनको गले लगाए हम। स्वामी जी की जीवन गाथा आओ सब मिल गाए हम। ये है भारत भाग्य विधाता, इनको गले लगाए हम, इनको गले लगाए हम। भटके पथ पर हम सबको जो राह बताने वाले हैं, ये मानव की मानवता को जाग उठाने वाले हैं, जाग उठाने वाले हैं। भटके पथ पर हम सबको जो राह बताने वाले हैं, ये मानव की मानवता को जाग उठाने वाले हैं, जाग उठाने वाले हैं। स्वामी आओ सब मिल गाए हम। ये है भारत भाग्य विधाता, इनको गले लगाए हम, इनको गले लगाए हम। तेरी गाथा भारतवासी अनुदिन गाते रहते हैं। भक्ति ज्ञान के संगम पर हम तुझ में सब मिल जाते हैं। तेरी गाथा भारतवासी अनुदिन गाते रहते हैं। भक्ति ज्ञान के संगम पर हम तुझ में सब मिल जाते हैं। परमहंस के परम शिष्य तुम, भूपर स्वर्ग बसाए हम। विश्व जगत की माला गुंद कर गुरु के गले चढ़ाए हम, गुरु के गले चढ़ाए हम। स्वामी जी की जीवन गाथा आओ सब मिल गाए हम। ये है भारत भाग्य विधाता, इनको गले लगाए हम, इनको गले लगाए हम। तुम भारत के आन मान हो, नव जीवन ध्रुव तारे हो। तुम्हारी जय जय बनी रहे, अब हम सब पाव पखारे हैं। तुम भारत के आन मान हो, नव जीवन ध्रुव तारे हो। तुम्हारी जय जय बनी रहे, अब हम सब पाव पखारे हैं। जय हो स्वामी जी की जय जय, परमहंस के प्यारे तुम। जय जय बनी रहे भारत मंदिर के अमर सितारे तुम, मंदिर के अमर सितारे तुम।
मंदिर के अमर सितारे तुम,
मंदिर के अमर सितारे तुम,
मंदिर के
अमर सितारे तुम। ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय। ओम ऐं गुरवे नमः। ओम गं गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। यदाग्ने दायिका शक्तिः, रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया। सर्वविद्या स्वरूपां तां, शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। दोहा जय जय मातु सरस्वती, कृपा भरे कवि भारी। कालिदास भय अति विख्याता, तुम्हारी दया अहर सब माता। तुलसी सूर आदि विद्वाना, तुम्हारो सुयश सदैव बखाना। शरद इंदु सम वदन तुम्हारो, रूप चतुर भुज अतिशय प्यारो। कुंद इंदु हिम सम जहि गाथा, भार श्वेत वस्त्र सुखदाता। कोटि सूर्य समतन ज्योति पावन, राज हंस तुम्हारो शशि वाहन। काल कुंडल लोल सुहावरी, उर्वरी माल अनूप दिखावरी। दीन पुस्तक भरधारिणी, जगन मातु तुम जग विहारिणी। ब्रह्म सुता अखंड अनूपा, तुम्हारे गुण गावत सुर भूपा। हरिहर करहि तुम्हारो वंदन, वरण कुबेर करहि अभिनंदन। मधुकर तब की मति हर लीनी, परम पद करि तुम गति दीनी। तुम्हारी रूप पार्वती धार्यो, दुर्गा रूप असुर संहार्यो। काली रूप अनूप बनावा, रक्त बीज का धरनि गिरावा। आदि शक्ति तुम प्रकट भवानी, सचराचर स्वामिनी कल्याणी। तुम्हारो नाम जपै जो कोई, विद्या वृद्धि पावे जन सोई। तुम साहित्य सरोवर वासिनी, ललित कला संगीत प्रकाशिनी। चारु कल्पना शीला माया, करो सदा सेवक पर दाया। सरस्वती पूजन जो करही, निष्ठित भव सागर तरही। विद्या बुद्धि मिलहि सुखदानी, जय 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 शारदा भवानी। तुम्हारी कृपा मिटै सब पीरा, सेवक होई तुम्हारे धीरा। तुम जननी ब्रह्मांड निवासिनी, सकल तम गुण की प्रकाशिनी। जगदम्बा तुम अगर जग भरनी, बुद्धि विधात्री सुमंगल करनी। दुख दरिद्र सब जाहि न साई, तुम्हारी कृपा न कछु कहि जाई। जनकादिक यम गुण गण गावहि, नारद मुनि तव सुयश सुनावहि। जा पर कृपा तुम्हारी होई, ता पर कृपा करहि सब कोई।
Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters and brothers. Let us sit calmly for a few moments and contemplate on the radiant form of God seated in our hearts. Swami Vivekananda says, every day is holy, and devotion to duty is the highest form of worship to God. The calmer we are and the less disturbed our nerves, the more shall we love and the better will our work be. Infinite patience, infinite purity, and infinite perseverance are the secret of success. May God bless us with love, peace, and knowledge so that we can live in harmony with all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Sarvesham Swastirabhavatu Sarvesham Shantirabhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukhabhat Bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai, Mahamai Ki Jai, Swamiji Maharaj Ki Jai, Ganga Mat Ki Jai, Mahavir Swamiji Ki Jai, Sarva Rishi Muniyo Ki Jai, Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Maha